Welcome to Fast Talk. Today we're joined by Adam Robinson from the town of Queen Creek. Welcome, Adam.
Thanks, Chris.
So last time you were here, we were talking about Frontier Family Park. It was just going to get underway. Since that time, you've had a few changes. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
All right. Main changes is just the world we're living in with construction timelines and long lead items is pushing the schedule a little bit. But besides that, we've broke ground. They're out there moving earth and doing a lot of the underground stuff right now.
Oh, that's great. Tell us a little bit about what's going to be at that park. So that one's going to be a little bit different than, say, Desert Mountain or even Mansel Carter?
Yeah, a little bit different. It's the first difference everybody will notice is it's much larger. It'll be Queen Creek's largest park at about 85 acres when it opens. We've got 6 baseball, softball fields, which almost doubles our inventory of those type of fields. But these are bigger full-size fields. You can play any youth age group, both softball and baseball, all the way up to adult softball leagues. So that'll be fun to start to introduce more of that into Queen Creek. 3 more multi-use fields for the soccer and football, and starting to get lacrosse going a lot.
Yeah.
We do have the usual 2 basketball courts, couple volleyball courts, and new to Queen Creek will be the pickleball courts, which should be
Pickleball.
interesting.
Tell us a little bit about pickleball.
Pickleball's a great sport. It's the top topic of discussion in all Parks and Rec conversations nationwide. It's that popular. It's growing that fast. We've put a lot of work into our design at the park to make sure that we're building the best recreational pickleball experience for our residents. Putting a lot of the courts together so that we can continue to build the pickleball community as they grow. You know, we all play together type thing. And so we're really excited to get it built, get it going, and just seeing all the people come out to play.
So I know it's one of the fastest growing sports. I hear about communities turning over their recreation inventory to pickleball courts from something else, say volleyball or something like that. But for folks that haven't seen it, it basically looks like a small tennis court.
Yeah, it's a perfect mix between tennis, ping pong, and badminton, if you look at the rules and how it's played. And the reason it's gained so much popularity is anybody can play. And so, you know, something we kind of compare to some other sports, if you're playing with somebody who's not as good at it, the level of fun or how much you can play drops quickly. So just using tennis as an example, but just if you're playing with somebody who can't return your serve, then it stops being fun quick. Where pickleball is a lot smaller court, slower speed, everybody can play. But then it goes all the way up to the highest level of competition. And you can start to see pickleball tournaments on TV now, and the speed and power with which they play on that tiny court, it's pretty amazing. And I think that's why it's grown in so much popularity, is because every age group can play it and have fun, and yet it can still be played at that top level. And that's different than most sports.
So how many people do you think will be able to accommodate here? And do you see tournaments coming? Is it that kind of setup, or is it going to stay, local use?
You know, it's a great question, because every facility is trying to figure out their niche and how they're going to build. For us, we focus on all of our park sites, we focus on our residents' recreational use first. So we'll build it with the potential for tournaments in mind, the potential for leagues and clinics. But the main purpose is our residents' recreational use to play. It's the same thing with any of our other park amenities. Is, we want to meet our residents' needs first and then move on. A couple of design factors that we've put into this park that we think are going to be a really great aspect for our residents are we're putting 24 courts in. So what that allows us to use is 16 of them for your everyday recreational use, and then we can possibly work in reservations for courts, which most courts are either all reservation or all drop-in. We'll have the ability to do both. We'll have the ability with 24 courts to have the recreational play still happen while running either clinics or leagues or anything on the other courts, and that way we're never shutting it down for one use or another. And then, meanwhile, there's enough courts to run tournaments and bring folks in for that kind of fun as well.
Sounds pretty exciting. Something new for Queen Creek, and we'll be anxious to see how that turns out. And you said 6 other ball fields, so we'll continue to have that Little League and Queen Creek Heat and all of that here in the community.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the focus of building our parks, as I kind of mentioned, is that recreational use. We want our residents to all be able to play. And so building more fields and making it more multi-use means we'll be able to get more people out playing. And kind of what we're striving for is that we all just play together, whether it's baseball or softball, or I'd mentioned lacrosse is growing, pickleball. It's the idea of getting outside, getting to the community, and connecting with other members of the community. Another fun aspect of Frontier Family Park that's coming along is the playground area. It's kind of it's along the same lines as Mansel Park Playground, but I think we're taking the fun and notching it up quite a few levels for this next park. We're really excited about the play value that we're building into the playground there.
Well, that'll be something to see if you're gonna take it a step above the what is that, a pirate theme over at Mansell Carter. That should be pretty exciting then.
We're excited. We don't want to give away too many details. We want to be able to unveil it in the future, but we are very excited about, again, just that focus that we all get to play together.
I think there were 2 key things that I was excited to see, at least in the concepts. Maybe things have changed since that time frame, but we were going to have our first aquatic center at this park, and is a community center. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. They're going to open anywhere 7 to 12 months after the park itself opens, but we are also in design and starting construction on the recreation center and an aquatic center. There's a new strategy out there to kind of build them together so they operate together, a lot of savings and efficiencies. So we're building our rec center and aquatic center as one kind of facility. So for example, you buy annual pass, day pass, you're able to use both, either or. The aquatic center will have a kind of a typical family aquatic center, what you see at other places, a kind of a competition pool, the play pool, the lazy river, and slides. You see that at a lot of the other aquatic centers around town. And the recreation center, very similar, is you'll have your fitness area with the fitness rooms, your multi-use classrooms, ballroom, the basketball, volleyball, pickleball, sports, gym, teen center, and child watch area. And then part of the shared services is the restrooms, locker rooms are shared between both the pool and the rec center. And some of our recreation staff will also be housed out of that building.
So in terms of the aquatic center, very similar to the Basha or Mesquite or something like that we see over in Gilbert and Chandler?
Yep, very similar program. Mesquite's probably the best close by example in terms of the program. I think we were able to take a little bit bigger piece of property out of the park to build it on, so the design is just a little bit different layout, which hopefully helps with getting more people in, more people able to use the aquatic center, more people out and active. Other than that, yep, I don't think you'll see any big surprises when you show up, but it will be lots and lots of fun.
And so, by extension, does that mean then local swim lessons?
Absolutely. Absolutely. A big focus of the aquatic center is going to be water safety. In addition to swim lessons, we'll also have swim teams. There will be adult fitness in the pool, and then, of course, all the playtime and the occasional dive-in movie type program.
Well, that one sounds exciting. I don't think I've seen one of those, but I know what it was like as our kids were growing up here, trying to get in over at the Gilbert Parks and Rec to those swim lessons. So that's exciting for all of the families that are here now to be able to do that here in the community. And the rec center that you were talking about, the activities that are at the current rec center, the small few classrooms and the couple of gyms over there at the south side of the library, will those move over to the new ones? Do they continue to be in both locations? How's that going to work?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because as we were planning the design of the new recreation center, really a lot of how that floor plan would work out would depend on whether or not we're able to continue using the recreation annex. And that's the current rec center is what we call the recreation annex. In there we do have 8 rooms, multi-use rooms, dance, preschool, big rooms, classrooms. We're able to use them a lot. The plan is to still continue to use that building after the rec center opens. In the rec center, there's not enough rooms to still have all of those classes go on and still be able to provide the variety of classes that our special interest class program does. And so we'll still see a lot of the bigger, more regularly meeting classes at the recreation annex, your preschool classes, karate, stuff like that, where some of the newer classes will go to the recreation center. And one aspect of the recreation center we're pretty excited about, we don't currently have, is a teaching kitchen. So we'll be able to do cooking classes and meal prep classes and lots of different fun activities that we just don't have the amenities for right now.
Oh, that'll be great. I know you put out that magazine in the fall and in the spring, but where can people find that information if they don't have that magazine?
queencreekaz.gov/recreation. And when you go to the website, there'll be a register here or register online button. You click on that, it takes you right into Civic Rec, which is our online registration software. And you can search all the classes by age group, ability, whatever you're looking for interest-wise.
So along with that, so not to be bored, you're also working on an expansion over at Mansel Carter?
Yeah, Mansel Carter Oasis Park, so phase 2, we're finishing the park. There's about 13.5 to 14 acres on the other side of the road that's always kind of been used as overflow parking for bigger sports days. But it's exciting to be able to expand to that side of the park, and we've got tennis going in on that side. We have what we don't really have at many of our parks over there, which is a little bit of passive park space. So we pile so many amenities into every park. On that side of the park, there will just be some turf where you don't have to reserve it to throw a ball with your kid. It's not going to be built for practices, but it's definitely built for kites or frisbees or anything like that. We're expanding the volleyball courts, so you have 6. You talk about the recreational needs of the town, building that kind of volleyball community, and also the ability to potentially run a tournament there. Same thing with the tennis courts. Putting 6 courts together at that location allows people that play tennis to play together, and when they show up to play, to meet other people that play tennis that are playing. We hope that really fosters a tennis community and keeps that active. There's 4 pickleball courts going in on that side of Mansel Park as well.
So when do you anticipate those being open and ready? Sounds like those will go a little bit faster.
Yeah, it really should. Once we get going on construction, that one should go faster since it's just an expansion of the park. We are looking at early 2024.
Yeah, you mentioned that a couple of times now. So 85 acres, I think you said, over there at Frontier. Mm-hmm. But how does that compare to Desert Mountain or Mansel Carter at build-out?
Yeah, if we go right up the scale, Founders Park, the original town park, is 11 acres. Desert Mountain Park, if you count the park aspect of it, it's about 21 acres. Mansel Park, once it's built out completely, will be 62 acres. And then Frontier Family Park's at about 85.
Wow, so it'll be significantly bigger than even Mansel Carter. That's impressive. And as we continue to grow, the park, the town has a great parks plan, and you have a volunteer committee who oversees those designs and planning and how it'll be implemented. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the parks group and then how people get involved with that?
Okay. Yeah, the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee, it's made up of residents in the town. That group represents all interests of residents. So you've got equestrian folks in the group, you've got sports folks on the group, you've got folks with no kids, folks with lots of kids, we got older folks, younger folks, everybody's represented, even geographically. They're represented from all around the town. I mean, the town's not that large, but we have each area kind of covered. And it's important that we have that kind of variety in the members because we lean on them a lot to give us feedback. They're that extra voice. So council members, you have 7, and they're obviously elected to be the voice of the community. And our Parks and Rec Advisory Committee is just that. It's an advisory committee to council. So in each of their groups, they go out in the public, they talk to people, and then they come and they express that to the council members. And in terms of getting involved, online, again, queencreekaz.gov, there's a committee interest form. You fill out that interest form, and there's 5 or 6 different committees that you can join, and you just rank them in terms of preference. And everybody wants to be Parks and Recreation, right? So that's always, in my mind, the first choice.
The first choice.
It surprised me when I see it's not always everybody's, but it is mine. But that's the best way to get involved. And there are a handful of spots opening up this year on the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee. We tend to meet quarterly, unless we're really busy with a lot of things hopping, and then we'll go as often as monthly when things are going on, when there's a lot going on. So when we were right in the beginning portion of design for the parks, both park sites, recreation center, aquatic center, we did a lot of work with them. So we were meeting monthly to get feedback back and forth so we could get that initial thing going. Now that we got all that going, we've gone back to quarterly, and ultimately it's to review policies, pricing, how to work with partnerships, just really getting community feedback on all of those things. So the more, I don't know how you'd say it better way, but the more different people, the better variety of people that we have on the group, on the committee, the better they act as an advisory committee to council.
Right, more opinions, more views. And I think that's an interesting point. Queen Creek does a really good job with citizen outreach, and we appreciate all of the thoughts that go into the planning process. I guess one last thing from a business perspective is the park system really goes to the quality of life in the community, which is an important factor when we're starting to locate these big employers. They want to know, what the quality of life is going to be for their employees there, not just who's currently there, but for those that are going to be coming as well. And so having the park system well planned and follow that plan is really important to us. So how do you see the rest of the build out going, and what is the philosophy for the parks program?
We have what's called Parks and Recreation Master Plan. It's a 10-year plan that kind of is a guide where we want to get to, and then it has plans for that 15 and 20 year. Every 5 years we kind of look at it, and every 10 years we redo it. And we talk about public input and how Queen Creek has a lot of it, and that's exactly what we reach out for, is from a public standpoint, what do you want to see here in Queen Creek? And that's how we determine ultimately how many parks we need, or how many acres of parks we need, how many of the amenities, what kind of varieties of amenities that we choose, is based on resident input. And the ultimate goal is exactly what you said, is to build a really strong, high quality of life. And what that means is that as a community we play together. And a community that plays together has all the positive benefits you get out of Parks and Recreation. I mean, you're in my wheelhouse right now. We could go well over time and talk about the benefits of Parks and Recreation. But some of the key benefits that I think residents find most important is, one, I've said it too many times already, but we play together. You build community and meet people. You develop those friendships. But two is a strong park system reduces crime. You need less police officers, fewer police officers. You have less crime because more people are invested in the community and invested in their neighbors and their neighborhoods. And so those are a couple of the big things that people really look at a lot when you talk about a high quality of life in a dynamic parks and trails system. So we're really excited that we have, that council's approved, and with their vision, we've got a really strong 10-year plan to build out a high quality of life so that people want to live here today. And then 10 years from now, people are still coming here because Queen Creek's still the place to be. And then extend that out 20, 30 years. We want to build a place that is that Queen Creek hometown forever. And that people today, that our grandkids want to come live here because of how great of a place it is to live.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I appreciate is the intentionality of the programming and the data that you provide to council when they're making their decisions. So it's not just we think it's going to be good, but
Right.
there's actual data backing it up. So anything that we haven't covered that you want to get to?
Am I allowed to say no to that question?
Absolutely.
I think we covered it all, Chris. Thanks.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Adam. It's been great learning about the new parks that are coming, and we look forward to seeing them.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure. Thank you.